All right, we are live. So wait a few seconds. People are coming in. They get a chance to come in. As you can see, I am TM Smith. This is the live hour pre-show to get us ready for Mayhem at the Multiplex. Of course, Nico's the first response. Hello, Nico. We'll wait for important people. Speaking of important people, there's Brooklyn. Hello, Brooklyn. We'll give it a few more minutes, see how many more people come in, and we can go into the preview for Mayhem at the Multiplex. 6 matches, 3 videos, 3 title defenses, all the different divisions, formats, all on showcase for you, the viewers, you, the fans. Hush, Nico, before I reduce you even more. But yeah, we'll give it a few more seconds. See if anyone else pops in. If not, we'll get right down to it. Unfortunately, no one else. Everyone else is busy today. Work. Kane's pretty much just think of like a, I don't know, like a dead rabbit running from a lion. He's pretty much exhausted after all the editing. So, a peace summit. Now is this like Power Rangers Peace Summit, and I replace you with 3 young teenagers, and you go off because you want more money, and we tell you no? Is that how that works, Nico? But beyond that, let's go into the previews, ladies and gentlemen. Keep posting in there with the chat. I'll keep looking at that since it's just right there for me. But we'll go into the preview since this is the pre-show for the live event, which will drop. The first part will drop at 3 o'clock today. And let's talk about those matches. The first video, you're going to see a lovely little battle of the psychosis, I guess you could say, with the kid, Caleb Coho, going up against the king, Caleb Coho. Boy, that's going to be an interesting match. I'll tell you, the battle of the psyche, the ultimate battle, I guess you could look at it, of good versus evil, inhabiting one body. Who's going to be the victor? Will it be the good kid or will it be the evil king? It's going to be interesting in a fandom fight format. So both of them. No, that's fine, Nico. Thank you though for the offer, but I got this. But yeah, for that, that's going to be an interesting match. And then the second part of the first video is Dan thinking the kid will win. Yeah, it's just going to be an interesting match to see that. It's going to be interesting. Dan's going with the kid. I guess we'll have a poll going up throughout the thing to see how many of you think the kid will win, how many think the king will win. But yeah, Dan already first one on the poll with the kid will win, so that's going to be a very, very interesting match. But the second match going up in that first parter is the TV Throwdown singles title, not fandom TV that you've heard about from Jim Green, but regular TV that I started back in the day, brought as the first thing over here for Multiplex. And of course, the very first, let's go into a little history of it. The very first inaugural champion. What Nico said, the audience wins because one way or the other, Caleb loses. Unless you're Kane that had to edit that match, and then I'm surprised he's not a heavy alcoholic. But the history of TV Throwdown singles, our very first champion from over in the days of, other leagues and doing that. Our first champion, Chance the Titan Ellison. Chance just taking titles left, right. $100 from Nazario on the Kid over the King. $100 Nazario is going to donate to the channel, he says, if the Kid wins over the King. I'm going to hold you to that, Nazario. I know that's just a $100 bet, but it'd be pretty great. But anyways, back to the history of it. Welcome, Nazario. Chance, of course, winning a lot of singles titles. He won many singles. I'm just messing with you, Nazario. He won a lot of singles titles over his career, and of course, our inaugural TV champion, 111 days. He was holding that title, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see now that since he's gone, he had to relinquish all those titles since he's moved up to the Schmodown. I guess you could say he's ascended to a higher plane. He's gone from semi-pro to pro, kind of like Will Ferrell in semi-pro. So he's going up to the big leagues, going up to the big times. But now, after matches to determine who would be the likely successor of TV, seeing competitors like Nico in there, seeing competitors like Jim, like Zadius. And Harley, we know from, if you've watched the matches before, Harley was the first one to challenge Chance in the inaugural TV Throwdown tournament. And Chance, of course, beating Harley, going down to the wire. A great showing what Harley can do. It's going to be interesting to see. Harley hasn't played for a while, so it's going to be interesting to see if she can hold up to Jim, which, of course, is the new runner of TV and TV fandom. So it's going to be interesting to see if ring rust sets in or Harley kicks off right out of the gate, leaving or picking up where she left off, which, of course, she had a great run in that initial tournament, KOing Nico, which is always a fun thing to see. And, of course, Jim going down to the semifinals against Chance. And, of course, Chance winning the whole thing. So it's interesting to see how far we've come with it. And now a second champion crown after all the matches, after you've seen, especially the last match with Zadius and Jim this past Tuesday. It's interesting to see now, will Jim be able to carry on that momentum going forward, or will Harley stop him? That's going to be the interesting match right there, I think, in the first part. But a lot of people are wanting to see the Kid versus the King. Of course, Nazario, $100 bet on the Kid over the King. Nico, now I'm envisioning Kane coming into Jimmy John's on a drunken bender yelling at people about editing sandwiches. Yes, Nico, that I can honestly see that. Let's see. Dad, save your buddy for your vacation, Nazario. The Kid has this in the bag. A lot of Kid supports. Zadius, welcome Zadius. This is the match I'm most looking forward to. Harley versus Jim. Looking forward to see who I'm going after for that title. Screw Terra Nova. You leave that show alone, sir. You leave that show alone. Nico. Coffee Black went pro and semi-pro. Yes, that's nice, Nico. Of course, Nico supporting Zadius for TV champ, supporting his house. Jonathan Peck, welcome, sir. We will get to you momentarily. Zadius, yes. And, of course, Dan trying to recruit for a sports battlefield. Go figure. All right, now that we're caught up with that, we can go into – that's video number 1 of the Kid versus the King in a Phantom Fights match. The TV Throwdown Championship, Jim Green versus Harley Boric for the TV Throwdown singles title, and that's video number 1. And that's a great video, 2 great matches right there for you. So That's going to drop at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's in 50 minutes. That's going to drop part 1. Part 2 should drop at 6 p.m., and you're going to see in part 2 a very, very stacked card. You're going to see, let me just double check just to make sure I have the right one, because I had everything pulled up on my second screen here to talk about, and I forgot to pull that up. Oh, go figure. But at least I'm not drinking my sorrows away like Kane right now. Oh, all right. The second card, which when I said Jonathan Peck will get to you in a second, the second card is going to see in the very first match a Sports Battlefield, the last inaugural match. Now, Friday you saw the second to last one drop just because of life, working, what have you. We all have, most of us have full-time jobs and life we work around for this, so it happens. But we got that out, a great inaugural match with Lucas Schilbach taking on Michael Campbell. Very interesting. Both of them have their knowledge. Probably didn't go how Michael probably wanted it to, but with Sports Battlefield, this is just a start of, I guess, of the inaugural little first mini season of it. So we still have to the end of December to go for more matches with these guys. So we'll see them all back. It's going to be very interesting. But the first match of the second card is Sports Battlefield, and we see Brooklyn Vale taking on Jonathan Peck, which is going to be very interesting. Some backstory behind that. Of course, we retooled Sports Battlefield into what you see today to get it just right, just for you, the viewers. And, of course, we have more exciting things with Sports Battlefield to come in the future with season after season. It's going to be very, very great to see. But this is the last inaugural matches of these competitors, and of course we'll see them back in different matches, against different people. So it's going to be interesting to see how well these two do. Now, Brooklyn, who did do a few tapings of the old Sports Battlefield, did have some dominance. So it's going to be interesting to see if he lives up to that hype that he's been hyped up to by others who had done these matches. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep up with that against a newcomer, Jonathan Peck, who, of course, a big supporter of Multiplex, big supporter on Twitter of it as well. So, of course, this is going to be his first match in Sports Battlefield, his introductory match, and, of course, he'll be back after this as we go deeper into the season, which is going all the way to December, when we finally crown our first Season 1 Battlefield champion. But last inaugural matches to get our feel for all these competitors. And, of course, the second match, the one I think everyone's been waiting for. Ever since the start of Multiplex, we introduced a lot of these different divisions, a lot of these different plays, and, of course, one very popular one, which this was the idea, the baby of Kane McMillan, one half of our great editing team, which, Kane, don't overdrink yourself before you go into work and get thrown in jail while throwing sandwiches and empty beer bottles at cops. Please don't do that. But it's the Phantom Fights Singles Championship. We finally get to the end of the tournament. The two finalists face off in a battle of the ages. And, I mean, some history with that tournament. You had faces like, Caleb Coho, you had Alex Warden, you had Robert Parker, you had Sandy, I do believe, had some intros in there. And, of course, Nico, you saw him, Ryan Permison, a lot of great competitors, starting off with a big two big fatal five-way matches for people to get in there and get placed. Of course, I get screwed and have to lose to Nazario, which once I have my next match, Nazario, I win that match, I want payback. But, yeah, those are the two matches, the Sports Battlefield match with Brooklyn Vale, Jonathan Peck, and, of course, the Phantom Fights Singles Championship with Robert the Hobbit Parker taking on the Wolverine, the three faces of Warden, Alex Warden. It's going to be an interesting fight. Both of these guys know their fandom. Of course, Robert big into Middle Earth, and Alex always getting stuck on Harry Potter, which he always survives it. I will tell you that. I've seen all of his matches. He always survives. I don't care what type of geek match it is. He always survives Harry Potter. He hates it, but god damn it, he survives it. I'll tell you that. He's a survivor, folks. But real quick, we'll catch up on, let's see. Jonathan Peck asking what Zadius' strengths are in Sports Battlefield. Nico, of course, stepping in to speak for his members. Dan Allen just basically backing up what Nico is saying. Is Brooklyn going to lose again? Well, Dan, you're going to have to watch the video to find out, buddy. Just like everybody else. You're going to have to watch the video to find out what happens in that Sports Battlefield match. Zadius, just football, actually. I'm staying away from that for right now, which is fine, Zadius. You can easily enter in Season 2. Season 2 will be a big expansion for Sports Battlefield. Of course, Jonathan and Dan going back and forth. Zadius, of course, chiming in. Basically, just them going back and forth, and Dan ending and saying, "Go, Robert." Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's been a long time coming. We finally got to the end of the tournament, holding off the championship match for the big main event, which we want to have 4 of these throughout the year, but how we started so late into this year, we're only going to have 1 now and then 1 at the end of the year, another big event. But the next year is going to be 4 big events. So that's something to watch out for next year for Multiplex. But for this year, we'll have this one, our yearly end event. But for this one, of course, that is video number 2. Video number 3, which will close us off. Hopefully about 9 o'clock we'll get that. Depending on the drop rate, we should get that about 9 o'clock, which, of course, is the introduction of, since Jim has taken over TV, he's coming up with all these ideas. One he came up with is a fandom TV league, which kind of replaces a lot of the original idea I had of. We'll get to that later, Nico. Jim's idea of taking fandom into TV, which kind of replaces a lot of the different ideas for maybe like a Marvel versus DC I was working on for specialty fandom, which is a great idea for it, which is fandom TV, and of course we're holding a tournament for that. You've seen the 3 play-in matches with all the different competitors. You know, Nico, I don't know how he won, but he won a match. He had to win something, folks. I mean, you know, he never wins anything anyways. He's like Hunter. But we've seen that. We've seen Grant Gregory's great performance in a play-in. He had a very great showing. And I cannot remember who won the other one because I was only there for one of them. But a very great showing by all the different competitors. I think Ryan won the first one, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check, but I think Ryan won the first one. And a very great showing by these guys, and the bracket set up for it, which is very fun. The seedings for them. We have Zadius and Eli coming in respectively, kind of tied for 1 and 2 because they still have their Arrowverse championship match to have, which Kane is working on editing. But, you know, being that they were in that championship match, they have very high seeding for that. The winner will have a little bit more of a high seeding compared to the loser, but it's going to be like that 1 and 2. So we're going to find out what that balance is after that match. Number 3, Harley Bork going into it, which, of course, being up there because being a number 1 contender for the TV regular singles title, Harley said she wanted in. So Got her in. Jim at number 4. Nico at number 5. Grant at number 6. Ryan Permerson at number 7. Case Cornelisa at number 8. Jay Burns at number 9, which was a surprise performance. Who did very well. Subrath Sharma, number 10, another surprise performance, did pretty well. Richard Schwartz did very well. He's at number 11. Of course, Kane McMillan, number 12, the Hurricane, little stock footage himself. Brooklyn Vale at number 13, who will fight anyone, apparently, to get Family Guy into Fandom TV, which Brooklyn, you'll have to take that up with Jim, because unfortunately I don't fully head it anymore. That is ultimately Jim's decision, and I do support my heads, so you have to fight him on that. Beat him over the head with a sandwich. Just make sure I'm there to see it. And of course, rounding us off at the end of it is Caleb Coho at number 14. So a lot of interesting players in that for that fandom tournament. And the first match in the third video is, of course, Brooklyn, hashtag for Family Guy. Of course, the first match in the third video is going to be the start of the Fandom TV tournament. And the very first match we're going to see is Grant Gregory taking on Richard Schwartz. So that's going to be an interesting way to see the formatting of Fandom TV, how that's going to work, how that's going to play out. The first match to get us into this tournament to keep on going. It's going to be interesting for the seedings. You got number 6 taking on number 11, so that's going to be very good to see. Both of them have their strengths. Grant had a very dominant performance. Richard has his strengths, so it's going to be interesting to see how well they do. And of course, the last video to complete the 6 matches to complete the last end video is the Warzone Movie Singles Championship, which after their long tournament, which finally got over, finally got the 2 finalists. Of course, during all these different tournaments, of course, Chance was in those as well. He had great showings in them, advanced in both of his matches, but that's when he got his call-up, so a lot of fiddling around there to work out what's even and fair for everybody. But the final 2 for the Movie Warzone Championship is primetime Paul Oyama, who was teaming with Chance at one point with Star Command, but of course when he got his call-up, that had to end. And he is the Worldwide Movie Games one half of their tag team champions with Michael Campbell in Big Picture. And he goes against none other, and he's going to be a very busy man apparently for these, for this Mayhem at the Multiplex. The Hobbit Robert Parker, he takes on the Hobbit himself. It's going to be a very, very interesting showdown to see who wins this matchup, because as you've been paying attention with the matches, when they both got to the finals, Paul's last match to get to the final was against Alex Warden in movies. And now both of them are facing Robert in this Mayhem at the Multiplex. It's going to be interesting. Will Robert be able to hold them off? Or, I mean, there's a lot of interesting outcomes. Could he hold them both off and break history and win both the inaugural titles? That could be the case. We don't know. This is going to be an interesting outcome to see how Robert is going to hold up with 2 championship matches back-to-back. It's going to be interesting. But that rounds off the last match of the video for video 3. So it's going to be a very interesting setup here, folks, for this. Let's get caught up on the chat real quick. Nico, yeah, his big ideas that no one listened to, just like his inaugural night of the whatever speech that no one cared about. Zadius and Dan laughing at Nico, which don't worry, we all do anyways. Zadius, thank you. Phantom TV is looking nice. It's going to be very stacked. And, sir, I cannot wait to see how well you do in your match once we get that book. That's going to be very interesting to see how well you do, Zadius. Nico, dude, my overall record is a million times. Blah, 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 blah. No one cares. Brooklyn, Justice for Family Guy. Like I said, take that up with Jim. I'm not going to disagree or agree on the issue because I have to be biased, but I'm not going to disagree with you there, Brooklyn. It should be. Of course, Spartacus getting on Nico's or getting on Brooklyn's campaign for Family Guy. Dan Allen, I want Jessica Morgan in Sports Battlefield as well. I don't know how Jess would do, honestly, Dan. I really don't know how Jess would do in sports, honestly. I don't know. I know her husband is very good for what she's told me. So that would be an interesting player of Mr. Morgan to get in there to see how he does once season 2 gets in and we can introduce our rookies into the returning roster and everything. Let's see. Dan wants everyone in the Sports Battlefield, and yes, Dan. Yes, that's true, Nico. He wants everyone in the Sports Battlefield. Let's see. Then Nico just talking about other stuff, but yeah, it's going to be a very interesting card. I mean, just for a lot of these, just for TV alone, which of course I'm going to talk about a lot because I started it. You saw this past season from starting this, we had a lot of great introductory players into TV. We had Zadius, who ran on a tear there in regular TV, which he wasn't confident at, and he ran on a tear. His only loss to Jim, which Jim is going into the championship match against Harley. Of course, Harley also very strong from last season with the inaugural TV stuff. Her only loss was in the championship match to Chance, so she's a very strong. Both her and Jim are going to be an interesting matchup to see in TV because both of them went on tears. It's going to be the only thing that's going to play with that could the ring rust set in. We don't know. We're just going to have to find out to see how well these two do. But of course, other interesting competitors we had was JTH himself, Jeremy Hastings. We had Nico play in some matches. Matthew Rosa, who played a very close match in TV trivia. Russell Howe, of course, we saw. He had a very close match with JTH, which honestly, if I had to put it up for a TV match of the year, I would for most entertaining. Because just watching that match it was very entertaining with both of those guys. I can't wait to have them back. Going in after that, looking at, of course, who the next challengers will be, who the next contenders will be moving after this. But it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. And, of course, for movies, we've had so many great competitors. Just from that tournament alone, we've seen Eli McKeag, who, I mean, honestly had one great rookie season performance. Of course, Jake Marangoni, we've seen him in there. He had that tough loss to end his run in the tournament, but it's Jake. He will bounce back. I do not doubt that. Of course, Matt Quaylar, we saw him. We saw Nazario in the tournament. Nazario had a great performance. We saw Cody in one of the 5-way qualifiers. Kane was also one of those 5-way qualifiers. We saw what he could do. We've seen Dan Skip Allen. We've seen a lot of interesting competitors coming out of that tournament. And it's going to be interesting to see how well they do going forward. Of course, we've seen some matches going forward after that of You know, the hilarious triple threat of Nico and Caleb and Kane, all of them getting each other's strengths. So that was a fun and interesting match. Oh, I felt so sorry for Jess for that one, but it was a very good. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out the winner of this, of all these championship matches, and who the next challengers are going to be going forward. Because, I mean, you have an interesting outcome where Robert could break history. Robert could break history and become the movie Warzone and the Fandom Fights singles champion, but with 2 belts at once. He could do it. Or you could see the greatest upsets of all time of Robert just getting shut out. You don't know what you're going to see with this. Anything could happen. And of course, you'll see the Phantom TV matchups to really see what those matches are going to be like, how they're going to be set up. Because the play-ins, you just saw the 14 questions from all 14 different categories, and then each player in round 2 got 2 strong questions from their strengths. So it's going to be interesting to see how round 1 is retooled, round 2 and round 3 are retooled. It's going to be very fun to see that. And of course, Sports Battlefield, now that we have the inaugural matches out of the way, after this one with Brooklyn Jonathan, we get into returning matchups to see how these people will fare going into the future of it to get closer towards championship season, or championship month, I guess we could call it, in December, to see who gets to the championships and wins season 1 of Sports Battlefield. Then, of course, we take that little break at the end of the year so we can all recharge, go in big with season 2 of a lot of stuff. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. So it's going to be interesting with that. Fandom, especially, it's been one of our most popular divisions, which I really think goes in with the geek and fandom culture has a lot of a bigger audience and crowd than it has over so many years. And now you see a huge fan community for it. So to get to this championship, it's been a battle for all these players. A lot of interesting shakeups, like I said, with Chance ascending on, and now he's going to carry Kalinowski to a title. So that's going to be interesting to see. This is going to be one fun card, but let's go check into our chat. I want to see more of who everyone thinks is going to win for these matches tonight while I catch up. Nico with his fun fact: if Paul wins tonight, he'll be the first competitor to hold titles simultaneously in the same trivia format. They're actually different formats, if I'm reading this correctly, of trivia, but they're basically movies if he wins. General movie trivia, yeah, but they're different formats, though, Nico. Warzone singles and WWMT Teams Championship, yes, that'll be true if he wins. If he gets past Robert, we're going to say. Zadius, today is going to be a good day for Multiplex Entertainment. Yes, it is. Cannot wait to see what the fallout of Mayhem is and what and where it leads to next. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Zadius, to see where a lot of this fallout comes, what happens in the ashes of this, to see who rises up to challenge next, to see who has dominant performances. Dan, none of them could beat me. Jeez. Dan, you need help. You really do. You really need help. Get help. Nico, that burp was under par compared to Chris Clark's burp. Yes, okay. All right, yeah. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys. Oh, what's this? One more. By the way, Chance told me he's going to show Harloff that address I did. Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a kick out of it like we all did. All right. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Who do you think is going to win these inaugural matches get some say in here because it's going to be interesting. Of all these 6 matches, what's your most forward or most match you're looking most forward to? I guess to say. I think mine would probably be. I want to have bias with TV because that's the baby I started, but I honestly want to see it's tied because I want to see both the fandom and movie championships the most because of just that whole the fan community. Robert has always been that dominant performer in the fan leagues. We've seen that from Take 3. We saw it from Jack of All Trivia. We saw it from Worldwide. We saw it from Full Metal. And one of his biggest rivals that always seemed to get in his way to get that title, to just grasp it, was Chance Ellison. Now Chance Ellison is gone. Will he be able to grasp that, or will others rise up to step in his way? And he has 2 big championship matches tonight to see if he can break that curse and win that title, because he is a dominant competitor. We've seen that especially in fandom. We've seen, I mean, hell, this is the king of Middle Earth, you might as well say. I mean, you know, he is the king of just so much fandom. So it's going to be interesting to see if he gets that, because Alex has his strengths too. He's very strong, of course, with MCU, with the Worlds of DC, I do believe. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well he does. Cody Newberry, welcome. Of course, Cody Newberry chanting for Robert. Nico, I'm very curious to see what Jonathan Peck can bring to the table tonight, because I'm not sure if he's ever played before in trivia. Very true. He is. I don't think he has. Jonathan, if you're still there, you can chime in to let us know. But I do believe, I think this is your first one. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well he does with sports. But I don't think you can really compare it, Nico, with all the different formats and all the different genres, because you can't really compare how well someone would do in sports to compare how well they're going to do in movies, because it's all different. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he can do in sports. Should he want to try the other ones? I know he's very interested in getting in a fandom match, which I'm sure Caleb is scheduling down, so that's going to be interesting to see. Should he get that match to see how well he would do in fandom? Because it's all different general knowledge, so you can't really compare them into one. But it's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the table, Nico, in sports. Of course, Dan thinks Robert's going to win both the championships. He's adamant on the kid winning, which I know him and Nazario and a few others. He thinks Brooklyn's going to win. He thinks Jim. And those are his favorites tonight. Of course, Cody Newberry was screw the king. I cheers you, sir. I couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see, because a lot of these matches are very good. I mean, just the split personality alone of the kid versus the king, you could say it's schizophrenia in his mind, or ideas of grandeur in his head. I don't know, or maybe we ought to put him in that straitjacket now and just get it over with. But the match is done. We're going to see how the outcome goes for it. So it's going to be very interesting for that one. Of course, the 3 titles. This card overall shows everything we have to offer. It shows all the divisions, everything. It shows regular TV. It shows fandom TV now. It shows sports. It shows fandom. It shows Warzone. Shows everything that we have for trivia, for trivia-based games. I don't count Nerdgasm with that because that's more of a debating show, so that's its own weird little thing in a bubble, but still very good, still very watchable for a lot of the nerd categories out there, a lot of the geek categories, which I hosted one of those, or helped co-host one of those, and it's very interesting. So it's going to be very good to see the continuation with Nerdgasm to see it strive forward. But a lot of great, yes, Nico, Cody Newberry makes us all smile. He is a great man, a great human being. Cody, welcome. But yeah, it's if there's any more, yeah, just shout them out. We have another 20 minutes to go for this pre-match before the first match drops live. I mean, we've covered a lot of stuff. We've covered all the cards. We've covered all the matches. Like I said, this is one hell of a match card setup. I mean, we've gone through some of the rankings, some of the interesting players. Yeah, we've gone through the seedings for the fan and TV tournaments. I will tell you, with regular TV, we're going to see. I will drop this. This is interesting. We are going to see this for actual live TV, or not live TV, but for TV Throwdown post Mayhem at the Multiplex. Richard Schwartz wanted to enter into regular TV trivia, so we're going to see his debuting matches. We have a few other debuting stars in TV. We'll keep silent at the moment till we get everything locked down, confirmed. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all that plays out. Dan, you need help. You need help. You just in your statement right there, Dan. I'm going to break it down for you. I don't need help, Tim. Why don't you face me at Sports Battlefield then? You need help, sir. You need help. You need a hobby. Model building. That's a good hobby. It can't be sports 24/7. You need help, sir. You need help. That's all I'm going to leave it as. You need help. But, yeah, I will gladly face Dan. Well, I'll tell you what, Cody. We saw the outcome of your match. You have one. You have one coming up after your match, so we'll gladly be seeing Cody Newberry back in Sports Battlefield. The inaugural matches so far, we've seen Jim beat Malcolm. We've seen Sandy beat Caleb. We've seen Lucas barely defeat Michael. And we've seen Cody beat Matthew Rosa. So we have one more match to go, but it's going to be very interesting. Nico, off topic from tonight, what does Michael Campbell need to do to get back on track in Multiplex besides beating me in Warzone in November? Yes, that's going to be a good match when he throttles you. First Man on Monday, Venom on Tuesday. Dan, of course, going into his premiere week, which is good for him, but it's hard to schedule him when he goes on a lot of screenings. So, but yeah, with that, like I said, we've gone through all the matches. I've heard some opinions here in the chat with our 7 viewers watching this pre-show live before we get started in the first video. Thank you for those 7 viewers. I know we had up to 11 at one point. Thank you guys. Very active with the chat with Dan, Nico, Cody, Zadius, Jonathan, Brooklyn. I'm surprised Brooklyn didn't ask what your favorite sandwich is. I feel hurt, Brooklyn. I really feel hurt because I've never answered that question. But, I'm not good enough to find out the sandwich for Brooklyn. So, that's fine. That's fine. I understand that, Brooklyn. And also, I'll announce it here. Mondays, we're going to start our our live, loose fit forum show of a bunch of us admins. Kind of just covering fun topics, it's a lot more lax than normal. So it's just us lax kind of coming down off of this busy Saturday we have with, of course, the big event here. So we'll cover the fallout of the matches, the outcomes of it, what we're looking forward to next, some predictions of what could be coming next in each of the divisions of everything, of course. We'll talk about fun, interesting stuff, some fun news if it happens over the weekend. Some fun stories of what we did maybe after this busy day of Sunday. I know I'm probably gonna work and sleep, but let's see. Dan, thank you, Tim. Great job, buddy. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Dan. Nico, thank you for what's your favorite sandwich, but I want to hear it from Brooklyn. But thank you, Nico. Trust, I'm not drinking alcohol. This is, even though it looks like pink lemonade, it is Aldi's tropical punch. So no, it's no alcohol. It's a tropical punch, even though it looks like pink lemonade, because I think tropical punch should be redder, but that's my opinion. It's $1 for 8 packs, so I'm not going to bitch. It at least tastes like tropical punch. Because God forbid those cheap bastards carry blue lemonade. But yeah, we'll be covering all that for Monday, and that's going to be a recurring show every Monday. Maybe around an early time. We're just a lot laxed, a lot looser on that. Of course, we'll cover some fun stories from the past week in news or any fun stories or what have you. But yeah, we're going to start doing that every Monday. I'll be hosting that. So for the first one, we're going to cover a lot of the fallback, the outcome of Mayhem at the Multiplex. See where players go, or where players maybe go after this, to see who's going to rise up to challenge these new champions. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Dan. Nico will still have his show around the league with Nico. This show I'm talking about is just a more laxed of a few of us live, kind of just an uncensored, interesting experiment. Nico still has his. He'll probably cover all of that first Sunday, but anything. Yes, you still have the job. You can thank Kane. But yeah, he'll be covering all that probably Sunday. But this is just, of course, I'm going to be talking about it Monday because it was a big event for us. Of course, we'll talk about some news stories. It's going to be more of a laxed, laid back with a few of us. So you'll see it when you see it Monday. But Nico will still have his. He'll talk about probably a lot of the fallout of Mayhem at the Multiplex on Around the League with Nico. I know they're doing something interesting Sunday, which you have to tune in to find out with that. It's going to be an interesting show there. But yeah, it's a big event. I think the best thanks goes to our editing crew, which I know Kane did a lot of it. Kane sacrificed a lot of time for this. So Kane, thank you for all that you do. And of course, the co-helping that with Jake, thank you for the editing you do, because you do a lot, especially with Movie Warzone. So thank you for that, buddy. Thank you as well, Kane. A lot of the crew behind it. with Caleb, with Jessica, with Dan, especially with Jim. Without you guys, the work doesn't get done. So thank you. And a lot of our we call them ghost riders and everything with a lot of our different matches. So thank you all that volunteered your time for that to really make this entertaining and fun for the viewers. It is. It's a great accomplishment with this. Our first of many big events to come. But we try to put our best foot forward with this. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. In the matches or in the videos, remember, put your comments down. Let us know what you think. Show your support for them. And of course, this is, like I said, this is Kane don't murder whoever runs the Jimmy John's deep fryer. Yeah, Kane, remember to breathe when you're at work. We love you. We don't want to see you in jail. We don't, because I know from editing, I do the edits for the sports and for the TV anymore to help out with that. So it kind of divides itself off. I know I was there shooting the match that you're most excited for, I guess we could say, Kane. I know. So trust me, I feel you in that. But yeah, I have to say a big thanks for all of them, because they make it possible for us to present this product to you, the viewers. Of course, thank you to all of our competitors that compete in this. Great names that we've seen, of course, with our stables of Robert, Sandy, Alex, Jake, a lot of these great performers, Paul, a lot of new performers we've seen so far over here on Multiplex with Dominic Rizzi. We've seen Jay Burns. We've seen Richard Swartz. We've seen Zadius. He's not new, but he's much improved. He's shown that. Him, Eli McKay, Ryan Permison, Kane McMillan, Caleb Coho, great teams that they have, which they're doing teams in fandom. And I know next year we're going to have teams in movies. So thank you to everybody. I really hope you enjoy this. It's going to be a great showing for this. To go over real quick again to what to expect for today, because it's a big day. We have the first video, which will drop in 7 minutes at 3 p.m. Eastern. That video will consist of 2 matches, a Phantom Fights exhibition against the split personality of Caleb Coho, the Kid versus the King. We have that one for the undercard. The main event for that one, the TV Throwdown Singles Championship, which of course is Jim the Wolf Green, because I will not call you El Lobo, and the Cupid of Crime, Harley Bork. Interesting matchup, to say the least, for these two. Both of them has their history from the past iteration of TV Throwdown, of course, when Chance was there and won the title. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do there. Which I will say, for that one, I have a special co-host for that to help me with that you'll want to see. You'll want to see the co-host for that one. Especially for the Kid versus the King, you're going to want to see the co-host for that one. It's going to be very interesting. That will be video number 1. Video number 2, again, is the Black Lantern Brooklyn Vale premiering in sports in the last inaugural sports match against the Raptor Master, Jonathan Peck, one of our great supporters over on the Twitter side, because he doesn't have Facebook. I urge you to get that. I know a lot of these guys would follow you. A lot of these guys will be great friends for you, Jonathan. And that will be the undercard to the second title match we will see, the Phantom Fights singles title coming out of the tournament. We have the Hobbit Robert Parker taking on Alex, the Wolverine Warden. This is one hell of a match. It's going to be interesting to see. This is kind of Robert's first step to a very, very interesting record and a very, very interesting achievement if he can do it. But this is his first step, his first title match for this. He faces off against Alex, a longtime adversary of Robert, and many of the iterations of trivia around that you've seen. And of course, that concludes video number 2. The final video, video number 3, has the introduction and the starting of the Fandom TV tournament, which we will have Richard Schwartz taking on everyone's favorite comic book lad who runs the comic book league. He is Grant Gregory, so Richard and Grant will face in the inaugural Fandom TV tournament match to get us started with that. And the final match in video 3, we see Robert again, Robert the Harper Parker, taking on new upcomer who has really proven himself in primetime Paul Oyama. If Robert can win both of these titles, like I said, a great accolade, a great achievement. 2 titles one night, but he has 2 big opponents to face in both Alex and Paul. So it's going to be interesting, the outcomes to that. But yeah, a great stacked card with a great bunch of competitors, very strong competitors. Oh, it's going to be fun. It really is. Nazario's back. He says, I think Robert wins Fandom but loses Warzone. We will find out, sir. We will find out. And the cool guy, I don't know who this is. Welcome, sir. He agrees with Nazario that he thinks Robert wins the Fandom then loses the Warzone. So, yeah. We have some more outcomes by the fans here, which I love to see. It's going to be very, like I said, very stacked, interesting card. A lot of history with these, a lot of different outcomes you can go with. And, of course, we'll see all the fallout with that on Around the League with Nico Suave Regole, the Cosmic Night Fury. And, of course, we'll talk about it Monday on our live experimental Loose Lax show we're going to have for our new weekly show. It's going to be interesting to see how that one does. But, yeah, great card, like I said. Thank you again to everyone involved with it, for every admin, every host, every writer, every co-host, every competitor, every player, all the fans and viewers. I really hope you enjoy this. We put the best we could into this to really showcase what we have, and I hope you all enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe. This is going to be a great big event, a great big day for Multiplex and for you, the viewers, with all the content. So please like, comment, subscribe, all these great videos. Enjoy. God bless, and we will see you all later. Thank you to everyone in the chat who hung out with us all the way to the end here. Go down to names, of course, Nazario, Dan, Nico, Brooklyn, Cody, Jonathan Peck, Zadius, all you guys. Thank you for joining us. It is going to be a great day for Multiplex, a great card for you guys. 3 videos. Go check it out as we go into Mayhem at the Multiplex. Enjoy.